Calgary's real estate market has been hot for a considerable amount of time, and we have seen a lot of multiple offers. And in this video, I'm going to go over multiple offers from the seller's perspective. I've also done a video on multiple offers from the buying perspective. I'll link to that video. I think that it's important that regardless of whether you're buying or selling, you should probably watch both. It'll give you a pretty well-rounded idea of what both sides of the transaction are thinking. In Calgary, we have a supply issue, okay? We have more buyers in the market than we have listings. There's a lot of demand, and because of that, we have buyers competing for properties. Now, multiple offers from the selling side doesn't always happen accidentally. Now, certainly we can have a diamond in the rough that gets listed at a great price and it attracts a lot of attention, and we can see a lot of buyers that want that place. But when I'm working with my sellers, I lately have really been trying to come up with a strategy that will make sure we do get multiple offers, because that's what's going to get us the most amount for the property, is when we have multiple people competing and writing their best and final offers for us to choose from. Now, when it comes to receiving that best offer, it's not always going to be what you think. It's not always going to be the highest price. Sometimes we have really specific possession dates that we need. Okay, sometimes we have a house that's maybe a little bit more beat up. Maybe it's a rental property, you're putting off some renovations for a considerable amount of time, and you don't want to do the work to the property, but we've priced it in a price range that's acceptable to list it that way. And maybe someone writes an offer without a property inspection condition. That can be pretty attractive. If you get the possession date you wanted and no property inspection, no opportunity for the buyer to maybe claw back a little bit of their offer price due to things that come up in the inspection. As a seller, that is really appealing, okay? Now, most of the time, the offer that's got the highest number written on the page, that's the one that the seller is going to end up going with, but there are some other factors that come into play as well. When it comes to determining what list price to come up with, this is where I think we see some mistakes get made in the market. This is where we see properties sit on the market for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but here in Calgary, it is. And the longer a property sits on the market, the more people question what's wrong with it. And even if there's nothing wrong with it, typically it just comes down to being listed too high. A lot of buyers know that properties don't last. We're seeing them sell 3-4 days on market, maybe in the first weekend. And when that property has been on there for a couple of weeks, someone goes, well, so there's got to be something wrong with it. It can't be that simple. So we want to try and avoid that. Let's say your property is worth $550. In this market, it doesn't necessarily mean you should list at $550 or $549. When we're determining the list price, we're kind of thinking, okay, what's going to be that number that's going to bring in the most amount of activity, the most amount of action? We need to have the list price low enough that it drives activity. We get lots of showings, lots of people coming to the open house, and lots of people that want to put pen to paper and actually write an offer. If we list at that $550 mark, we are going to cut a lot of people out that can't afford to write at $550. Most of the offers that come in are going to be right in around that list price. So let's say we list at $530, okay? Most of the offers will come in at $530. Maybe you'll get some a little over $535, $540. But what we're after is that one buyer who has written on a whole bunch of properties, buyer fatigue has set in, and they said, you know what, I got my kids that got to get in school, I got to get in a house before the snow flies, whatever the case is. I'm willing to overspend a little bit. I'm willing to go to my max budget in order to get this property. And that's who we're after, okay? So when we say, all right, we've got 5 offers on a property at $530, and they're all kind of sprinkled in at list, maybe a little bit above list, that buyer would not have necessarily written at $565 if there was only 1 or 2 offers on the property at $550. Because we were listed at a lower price point and we had more offers and we said, this is how many offers we have on the property, now that increased demand has told that buyer, all right, I've got to shoot for the stars. I've got to write a high offer. That's who we're after. Now, of course, I'm using these numbers just for argument's sake, but this is a situation I've seen play out numerous times at lots of different price points. And this includes condos, townhouses, and in the detached single-family home market. Regardless of the price point, we see this happen, a bulking of most of the offers, and usually it's 1 or 2 standouts. That's who we want. So in order to get all of these people writing offers on your property, we need it looking its best. We need to have professional photos taken. We need to have the home staged. We need to have it looking its absolute best. We need to give buyers reasons why they want to live there and not reasons why they don't want to live there or why they want to keep searching, okay? So just because we're in a hot seller's market and we have lots of action and multiple offers doesn't mean that you can just stick a sign in the ground and cross your fingers and hope for the best. If you're looking to get maximum dollars for your property, regardless of the market, you still need to have your property showing its best. When it comes to the actual listing date itself, I love listing a property on either a Wednesday afternoon or a Thursday morning. That gives us a lot of time to market the property, okay? So we have showings on Thursday, Friday for the weekday crowd, maybe in the evenings. Then we have an open house on Saturday for the weekend crowd. And again, that's gonna give you the most amount of exposure for your listing, hitting all the people that wanna come see the house. And then we set a review time, say on Saturday evening or on Sunday afternoon, and say all offers need to be in by this time. Okay, now that's quite a statement saying as soon as you list the property, hey, have your offers in by this time and date. That's making an assumption that a lot of people are going to want to write on this property. And that goes back to making sure that we've listed it at a price that warrants a bold statement like that. Because you certainly don't want to say, hey, we're accepting offers or we're reviewing offers on Sunday at noon, and Sunday at noon rolls around and you only have one person interested in the property. Well, now all of a sudden you're not even going to get list price, and that's a problem. So we've had showings in the weekday, we have the open house, we had weekend showings, and we've said we're reviewing offers on the Sunday. What's likely going to happen, and this does usually happen in some form or another, is you'll get what's called a bully offer. It's basically someone that said, hey, I know you're going to look at offers on Sunday, but here's our offer. Why don't you look at this one first? Now, of course, it's up to the sellers to accept or decline any offer at any time. And sometimes the offer that we get is good. Sometimes it's just okay. The discussion that I always have with them is how rigid are we going to stay to this plan? And how important is it that you run a fair and balanced process? And if running a fair and balanced process in that we're telling everyone the exact same story about this property and giving them all the same opportunity to write an offer, that's the best way, I think, in my opinion, to do this, is to shoot for that timeline. But if someone shows up and writes an unconditional offer, 40 grand above list price, well, now you've got a decision to make, okay? But typically what we see is that offer comes through, maybe it's at list price, just a little bit above list price. And in a lot of cases, what we've said is, you know what, we've told everyone we're gonna wait until Sunday. Thank you for your offer. We hope that you're still interested in the property on Sunday, and please submit your offer then. And typically we see them come back to the table. And the reason being is we're still in a supply problem. We don't have a lot of listings. It's not like there's another property for them to go look at typically. And if they're interested on a Friday night, they're probably interested on a Sunday afternoon as well. So now it comes to reviewing the offers. We've told everyone, hey, it's noon on Sunday. That's when we're going to look at the offers. And we have 5 in hand at noon. I'll review the offers with my client, with the seller, and we'll say, okay, what was the possession date you wanted? What conditions do all of these offers have? And of course, which is the highest price? Now, depending on the property and what kind of condition it's in, a property inspection might not be the worst thing. If you've taken care of your home and you know it's gonna pass an inspection with flying colors, no worries, that's not a fear. But if you have an older home, maybe it's a rental property, maybe you have tenants in it, it's a little bit beat up, the property inspection can sometimes be a little bit scary for a seller because you're not sure what's gonna come up and what, a buyer is gonna find that's gonna make them say, you know what, I actually would like to claw back a little bit of my offer price. I don't think it's worth that. We'll review the conditions that you have. Typically, the offer that gets accepted is usually gonna be the highest bid, okay? But I have seen unconditional offers get accepted that might even be as much as 10 grand lower than the highest priced offer, because that unconditional offer comes in once we sign it as the sellers, it's a done deal, okay? So that's a situation where as a seller, it's kind of the holy grail. Unconditional means, hey, we're done here. This is sold and it's off my plate and we're happy. So that's definitely what we're looking for, but a lot of buyers aren't in a position to write those unconditional offers. And so I think that it's reasonable to assume that the offer on the property is going to have a financing condition on there, or a property inspection condition. So there's the other things that we're going to look at too is the size of the deposit. The amount of the deposit is going to show how much cash that buyer has on hand. It typically is a sign of strength if they have a lot of money on hand. And the reverse can be true as well. If you've got a first-time home buyer that's only putting 5% down, we would hope that they have a pre-approval in place, but there's always a risk that maybe their financing doesn't get approved, especially if they just wrote a little bit out of their budget for multiple offers. And so maybe we look at that offer from someone who's putting 20% down, has sent in their pre-approval letter, and we know their financing is good. So we kind of have that discussion the day of, accept one of the offers, and start the process of satisfying conditions, accepting deposits, and all that good stuff. At the end of the day, when it comes to listing a property with the intent of receiving multiple offers, the most important part is, of course, getting your list price right. Doing the marketing and getting the exposure is critical. If you don't accurately list the property from the get-go, you will miss your opportunity to get those get that multiple offer thing going. So that's kind of a summary of how we do things from the listing side. I think right now you should probably go over and check out the video on multiple offers from the buyer's perspective. Even as a seller, I think it's good to know what the buyers are thinking as well. That way, again, you've got an idea of the whole transaction, what all parties are thinking. It's a competitive market right now, and at the end of the day, the more information, the more resources you have to make informed decisions, the better. And that's just what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here trying to help you navigate the waters of multiple offers, whether it's a buying side or a selling side. Again, my name's Andrew Jones with CIR Realty. Thanks for sticking around and watching this video. Most of the videos that I do are really similar to this. I'm just trying to educate as many people as I can on the buying and selling process and things that are really unique to Calgary, specifically multiple offers right now. I don't know how long this low inventory thing is going to stick around in town, but for the time being in the lower price points, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. Even with interest rates where they're at, we still have a lot of demand. So putting your best foot forward at a multiple offer is important. If you've got any questions, you can leave it in the comments below or reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a chat with you.